Good morning. Good morning. It's time to rise and receive. Welcome to your 10-minute morning send off designed to support you in receiving what you most want by unlearning struggle. So, today we are going to talk about how to invite good fortune if you feel paralyzed. So, if you feel paralyzed, if you feel stuck, if you feel frozen, if you feel unable to take action on something that you either know you need to do or want to do, or it would be an obvious good idea to take action on this thing, but you just can't seem to get going, then I really believe you're going to get a lot of value out of today's Rise and Receive. So if that fits for you, if you're here because the topic called to you, I invite you to take a moment. Chances are you're already struggling with something, so that's really clear to you. But what I want you to do is think about how would you like to feel instead of feeling frozen, of feeling paralyzed? How would you like to feel in relationship to that thing that you'd either like to do or know you need to do? And just put one word in the comments below, because that always activates the power of invitation and willingness. And that's what we do here, is we get you moving in the direction of getting unstuck around your manifestation efforts. So that's what I invite you to do. And if you don't know me, my name is Sonia Miller. I'm a speaker, coach, and best-selling author. And I am very passionate about teaching people the skill set of receiving, how to receive, because most of us don't know how. I have been teaching all kinds of manifestation tools, resources, teaching lessons for a long time. And I even wrote a book about it called The Attraction Distraction, Why the Law of Attraction Isn't Working for You and How to Get Results Finally, which you can get on Amazon if you'd like. It was a bestseller. It was translated, so definitely struck a chord with people. And in all of my years, now more than 25 years of teaching manifestation, it's become very, very simple to me, like that probably the most essential ingredient to this. And that is that the experience of fulfillment is one of giving and receiving. And if you know how to give, or you over rely on giving, which is the doing and the action and the pursuing and the hard work, you do the giving part, but you don't have the receiving part, you are missing an essential ingredient to experience the fulfillment that you're seeking. Okay, you cannot, everyone's heard that giving and receiving are one and the same. Well, they are absolutely part of the whole, but most people over rely, over function on the giving and doing part, but when it comes to receiving, they don't know how to do it. So we unpack that, we dismantle that, and we put the spotlight on how to receive. So today's topic around how to invite good fortune when you are paralyzed is the quintessential kind of picture. It's the snapshot of this exact dynamic where we over rely on doing and are malnourished in being. So I like to say that there's kind of two yin yang models of manifestation. There's the doing model, which most of us know quite well. It's so automatic pilot that we engage in it all the time. And then there's the being model. And if you have one without the other, you are going to work hard for eternity, because you'll just keep working hard, but you won't receive. So we're going to talk about the being aspect now that comes into play when you feel paralyzed. Okay, now what I did and what I do every morning at Rise and Receive is I spread out the cards for my brand new Receive card deck. I pull one card, and then I let that inform or inspire today's Rise and Receive topic. And so today, courtesy of a client of mine who said, hey, can you talk about this? Can you talk about feeling paralyzed and frozen? So I spread out the cards, I closed my eyes, and I said, how do I invite good fortune on behalf of everyone who'll be needing to hear this when you feel paralyzed? And the card that came out today is Receive Forgiveness. Receive forgiveness. So I am not going to read this entire card. I already did a video on Receive Forgiveness, and I'll include a link to that. And then if you'd like to get your own Receive card deck, go to receivecarddeck.com and learn how you can do that. But what I am going to do is I'm just going to read the very first few lines, which is going to inspire what today's Rise and Receive is about. So here we go. Take a breath. That puts you into receiving mode, and let these words wash over you. Whether toward another or toward yourself, unforgiveness is like a slow-acting poison that drains you of your life force. And yet, if you struggle with unforgiveness, you are not the only one who suffers. At best, you can still function, but everything becomes so much harder when you're weighed down by the chains and shackles of the past. You move through the world as a mere shadow of what you could be. If you are bound by unforgiveness, life can become a solitary proposition. It's you against the world, either because you're lost in blame or lost in unworthiness. So just take a deep breath, let that kind of wash over you. Now I'm going to give you your willingness mantra so you can take it into your day. If you are struggling with paralysis or feeling frozen, at very least, just keep saying this mantra, because I promise you there's a place where forgiveness can soften and thaw that frozen, paralyzed state. And then I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. So here's your mantra for the day. You can't say it enough, so just take it with you. Say it, sing it, breathe it. Let your awareness go towards receiving forgiveness. I am willing to have the forgiveness that lives within me blossom in my heart. I am willing to have the forgiveness that lives within me blossom in my heart. So this is based on the idea that forgiveness is not something that you do. It is actually something that you already are. Be versus do. It already lives within you because you're not broken. There's nothing missing. It's already something that exists as a seed within you. But if you're not experiencing the forgiveness, it's because you don't know how to invite it to blossom, to expand, to come alive within you. So we invite it by simply being willing to have it come alive. Okay? What happens for a lot of people is when they get wind of this idea of forgiveness, they think that they have to do it. So you can invite it. You can say, I'm willing to forgive, or I choose to forgive. But the actual feeling and experience and freedom that comes and peace that comes with forgiveness is really about inviting grace to blossom within your heart. So now with that, let's talk a little bit more about how you can deal with paralysis and invite good fortune. So I've kind of come up with 3 things that I want to offer. So the first thing is, if you're feeling paralyzed or frozen, the first thing to do is notice if you're being hard on yourself. That's the first thing. Most people, when they get paralyzed or frozen, they are very hard on themselves and they are focusing on the thing that they should be doing that they can't do. Okay, so let me tell you something about that. The problem is not that you're not doing the thing. That's a symptom. The real problem is that you're feeling paralyzed. So what doesn't work when you feel paralyzed is to try to force yourself out of being frozen, to force yourself to do the thing. Now, you can do it. Sometimes you can kick your own butt, or you can have somebody do that for you. Okay, but in the long term, when that paralysis comes again, there isn't a long-term, permanent and lasting transformation. Okay, there's a reason you're feeling frozen. Okay, so I like to think of it as if you're trying to force yourself out of your frozen state and you're being hard on yourself, the first thing is to bring in the willingness to forgive yourself, right? But also think of it like an ice cube. It's like trying to get water from an ice cube. You can force it, which might cause you to like crunch on it and crack it, okay? And maybe you'll get a little bit of water when you do that. But truly, to get the water out of that frozen ice cube, it's really about letting it thaw. It's giving it some time and space and gentleness. So that's the first thing. Notice if you're being hard on yourself and bring in the energy of forgiveness and gentleness and soften. Just space, okay, to just be as opposed to have to do. The second thing is to shift your relationship to this paralysis from a fix-it sort of approach to a nurturing approach. One of the things that perpetuates struggle is we look at everything as something is broken, I need to fix it. There's a problem here and I need to solve it. And sometimes there is a problem to solve, but we apply that problem-solving lens onto everything. And then what happens is we're always fixing problems. We're always solving problems and fixing what we think is broken rather than growing something that is already here, that is really abundant, that is really healthy, that is really well, and letting that flourish, which is what we really want to have happen. Think about that word, about how you want to feel. If you want to feel nurtured, if you want to feel inspired around that thing, if you want to feel ease and grace and freedom, then that's something that lives within you that you can grow. In counseling circles, they call it a strength-based model, right? And in my world, it's the presupposition that you already are all that you seek to be, do, and have. Wholeness is your true nature. And then we get to learn how to actually grow that and experience that, which is what receiving is really about, okay? So the second tip to moving out of paralysis to invite good fortune is to shift from a fix-it approach to a nurturing approach. So what that means then is as you give that ice cube experience some space to thaw, right? You just stand back, let it be okay, and you bring in forgiveness. Then you can get quiet and ask your inner world, what do I need? What's the need? And generally when you are feeling frozen or paralyzed, the first need is you need to feel safe. So there's usually a need for safety, a need for soothing, a need for comforting. And just listen, see what comes up. Just listen for the answer. And then the third step, when you shift from fixing to nurturing, is explore how to meet that need first. This is now about taking proper action, aligned action, or inspired action. Most of us take willful action when we over-rely on the doing model of power. I'm going to make this happen, do, action, action, action. And if it works, great. But if you're paralyzed, that's going to be, again, like trying to force water out of an ice cube, okay? So inspired action, aligned action, easy action is once you listen for what the need is, then explore, how can I meet this need? What would be the easiest way to move in the direction of meeting this need? All right? And then do what's in front of you. As best you can, do what's in front of you. That's always the number one action when people say, what do I do? When you do your inner world work, then the next natural action is do what's in front of you, because the bigger actions, the bigger physical world manifestations will take care of themselves if you focus on what's in front of you. As you do this, you will have an embodied experience. Chances are pretty good because you've shifted your energy. You've been inviting good fortune with willingness and with nurturing and with opening up space. All of the being stuff that easy receiving is about, okay? That will invite good fortune. That ice cube feeling will begin to thaw. And as you do what's in front of you, you will see that that thing that you need to do will start to reveal itself on the path. And the true problem, which is the paralysis, will soften. And then the actual doing aspect of life will unfold before you. That's invitation-based versus intention-based. And when you need to be in that model, that's how you get things moving. And you invite good fortune and all kinds of next steps, possibilities, manifestations show up. It's really amazing, I have found, when people practice this, how they suddenly become willing to do the thing that they were unwilling, incapable, and completely stuck around before. That willingness to actually do the thing just starts to happen. At least some action starts to happen, and then one thing leads to another. So, again, receiving forgiveness is the first step. Being gentle with yourself instead of beating yourself up is the first step in getting the energy moving, inviting good fortune, and moving out of paralysis. So once again, here is your mantra for the day. I am willing to have the forgiveness that lives with me, in me, blossom within my heart. So I hope that was helpful. If it was, please like, please share, please subscribe if you're on YouTube. And again, if you're enjoying these cards each morning at Rise and Receive, go to receivecarddeck.com, put in your name and email, and I will keep you up to date on when they will be available for pre-order. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow at the next Rise and Receive. Bye, everybody.